So on occasion, I have been asked about a combinatorics book. I don't believe anybody has asked me about a graph theory book, but graph theory, I think, is considered part of combinatorics. It's a gigantic field and one for which I will not have time for a while, but definitely it's over the horizon for me. So I'm going to go through my current stash, which is fairly incomplete. And more than anything else, this video is really not like a video, say, on abstract algebra books, in which I would be talking about how I'm about to do abstract algebra. In this case, this is more a call for references from my wonderful audience. And there's really not going to be a very thorough, systematic look through the books. Maybe put them in a table and compare them, compare and contrast. None of that. This is really more like, hey, if you're asking me about combinatorics books, people ask me for what I think is the one that I would do. I mean, usually the question is, what do you recommend? But I don't consider myself good enough to recommend a book. I definitely consider myself just an example of somebody who's doing math. And I can say, if I was doing combinatorics, if I was starting up combinatorics as I am abstract algebra today, which books would I pick? So I'll give you the punchline. I would definitely do these two books. But again, because I'm calling out for references from my wonderful subscribers, I'm sure that these would change, 3, 6 months, 9 months, a year from now, if and when I get around. Well, actually, I have to get around to these topics. I know that for a fact. I have done some graph theory in circuits. There was a whole circuits course that I took in undergraduate electrical engineering that was all graph theory. Cut sets, the whole business, matrices with cut sets, because I think it was called Spice, the software that they use for circuits. I'm sure it may be still around. We're talking 30 years now. Yeah, it was all graph theory. Combinatorics, as my son likes to say, I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. But I think I would do this book. So how about I'm just going to go through combinatorics and graph theory book by book and just show them, but then also just make a call out for references from my wonderful audience. Now I'm going to get started with this book because this book has a really good explanation of the whole field for combinatorics, and then I'm going to get started with Harary because it's considered a classic. And then I'll just go through them in some haphazard, if that's the word, fashion. Okay, so lowers combinatorics. One thing that I think is a shame about this book, I love the fact that it's big. I love big books. I'm not going to lie. And so it doesn't have answers in the back. Now, this is part of a series from a publisher from CRC. And so I like that there's a whole bunch of other books in the series, all on combinatorics, discrete mathematics. I'm pausing it in case you want to take a look, maybe look up your own references. It's something that, once I get around to combinatorics, these are pages that I'm pretty sure I'm going to go through carefully and look up all of the books in Amazon for comments, reviews. Yeah. So it's a LaTeX book. It's pretty recent, right? 2018. It's got websites. I'm not sure if it's for the book. I don't think it is. Here's the table of contents. Counting, graph theory, inclusion, exclusion, which of course is used in number theory, generating functions, ranking, unranking, algorithms. Of course, there's another world of analysis of algorithms that I haven't discussed in this channel, but it's something that I will get into at some point, which is, of course, a huge field. Groups, group actions. I'm in that world these days. Permutations, tableau, algebraic aspects of generating functions, and additional topics, and polynomials. I love polynomials. So yeah, the preface is very interesting because, like Terence Tao's preface in his analysis book, this person lays out the field, okay? So this book presents a general introduction to enumerative, bijective, and algebraic combinatorics. Okay, so enumerative is counting. Bijective is setting up one-to-one correspondences. And then algebraic is the more modern field. Yeah. And of course, you can pause it and read the rest. So this book has a lot of content. It's a real shame that this book does not have answers in the back. A real shame, because if it did, this would definitely be my go-to book. I always like the first book in a field to have the most content. And I believe of all the combinatorics books that I have, the 4 that they'll be in this video, and all the ones that I have, of course, I think this book by far, I would even state by far, has the most content. And so it could end up being, unless my wonderful audience links me to some other books with answers in the back, that this would probably be my second combinatorics book. It's just got a lot. I mean, you saw from the table of contents. The proofs are a little crunched up, but you know, when you write out the notes, you would just write it all out. Yeah, and I'm not gonna page through the entire book because we're gonna be here for a while, and cycle structure of permutations, interesting. And it's got some pseudocode. If I remember correctly, when I was looking at it some other time, it does have pseudocode. Let's just go to a page randomly that has pseudocode. It did not pick a specific computer language. It's got a lot of problems. See, but a lot of these problems would be great if they had an answer. Some of them, just so you can know that you are in the ballpark, as the saying goes. Of course, when I'm looking for pseudocode is when I cannot find it, while I am showing you folks this book. But I did see pseudocode. There it is. Okay, great. Yeah. So it does have pseudocode, which is really cool, because this is a nice tie-in to analysis of algorithms. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say for this about this book in this video. Okay, let's move on to let's go from simplest to more complex. So I got this book when I was trying to understand permutations for abstract algebra, which I'm still in the middle of. And this is a very informal book, and I love it. Combinatorics Through Guided Discovery. Bogart from Dartmouth. It is a recent book, 2004. You can read that if you pause the video. Yeah, so counting, all about counting. You can pause it and read it. Yeah, so there's some PDFs on the web that's really cool. What is combinatorics, induction, recursion, graph theory, distribution problems, generating functions, inclusion, exclusion, group actions, relations, mathematical induction, exponential generating functions as an appendix. So yeah, induction and relations are an appendix. Yeah, so it's got a lot of examples. And one thing that I love about this book is it's got answers in the back. So definitely a get started sort of book. Yeah, hints to selected problems back here. For a self-learner, that's my go-to section in any book. So yeah, a basic book to get started. Definitely not a proofs-based book. I'm not seeing any proofs. But again, yeah, definitely get started into combinatorics kind of book with some answers. And a limited, but well, actually not limited, a lot of problems. What am I talking about? Yeah, look at that. Problem 370. That's not limited. Okay, so then that is the more basic one. Then there's the Bona book, which different editions have different colors. And I was just trying to get a cheap one when I looked for this book. And another incredible book, in my opinion, just because it's got answers to, I think, all the problems. Yeah. It is a vast subject. Actually, when you go to the preprints, Combinatorics is number one. This one is from 2002. Yeah. So it's meant for an intro, and it can take 1 or 2 semesters, so it packs a punch. Yeah, there are some supplementary exercises without solutions, but there are a bunch of problems with solutions. So you got both, and that's the exact perfect mix for me. Pigeonhole, induction, counting, binomial theorem, partitions, permutations, deceive, wonderful, generating functions, graph theory, Ramsey theory, some permutations, some probability. Yeah. Examples, some proofs. But then the real clincher that I really love about this book is the answers. Solutions to exercises. Every section's got them, and they're like really thorough. Really, really thorough. So I'll go deeper into the book. Generating functions. Yeah, so pretty soon I'll come to the exercises, supplementary exercises, and then solutions to the exercises. Yeah, as I mentioned before, the solutions are very thoroughly written. It's almost like a solutions manual, like you would buy as an extra book for a book. So, yeah, great book for sure. And then the one that I was saying that I would use is, as the first book, would be Brualdi. And Brualdi also has answers in the back. Yeah, it's got answers and hints in the back. Although I think Bona had much better, so I don't know. I mean, it's a long time from now from when I will be able to use these books. And so I'm just showing them because I know people ask me, and so I wanted to make sure that I covered that. What is combinatorics, permutations, pigeonhole, binomial coefficients, inclusion, exclusion, recurrence relations, generating functions, sequences, representations, designs, graph theory, bunch of graph theory, poly accounting. Of course, you can read this. I'm gonna slow it down so you can read it. You can pause the video. One thing about combinatorics that I love is, minimal calculus, minimal linear algebra, minimal anything. You can just jump in. This could easily be the beginning of somebody's self-learning career as a hobby. Just do proofs and a combinatorics book, and you're in. Yeah, and I'll slow this down so you can read it. This is just the beginning from matter for the book. Pretty big font, lots of problems. Everything explained. This is why, well, when I got this book way back when, I actually have had it for a couple of years now. I was like, yeah, this would be my first book of combinatorics. And I've shown two books before this, so I'm not going to go through this in detail, but I'll just mention that I did see, oh, Latin squares. Yeah, I'm doing that in abstract algebra right now. I did see partition functions from number theory, and I did see Ferrer's diagrams. Let's see, where are they? There we go, 291. Yeah, I had a marker and I got rid of it. Yeah, partition numbers. This is discussed in number theory. These are Ferrer's diagrams, I believe. Yeah, okay, so enough of that. Now, the next one would be, what book would I use for graph theory? Somebody gifted me this book. And actually, somebody gifted me these two books, which is great because Harary is supposed to be a classic. This is an Indian print. I'll talk about it. So then West. So this would be most likely my graph theory, my first graph theory book. Maybe I would only do one graph theory book because, of course, as you saw in the other books of combinatorics, they cover graph theory. But yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's just go through the table of contents. And I believe it's got answers, hints and answers in the back. Trees, coloring, connectivity. Yeah, this is all incredibly useful stuff. Tons of applications. I mean, all of transportation theory, you know, city maps is based on all of this. Ramsey theory. So it's got a bunch of additional topics. Yeah. Some appendices for mathematical background, the usual induction, binomial, pigeonhole. He mentions Murdy's book, and I do have it, but I'm waiting to get the graduate level one at some point. Yeah, I do have it somewhere. I have that book somewhere, but I'm not going to show it here. I'm just, yeah. Okay, so then features. Yeah, let's just pause here if you want to see the front matter for the book. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll put it at the end of this video. Yeah. Lots of exercises. Many courses that can be designed with this book. Yeah. Your standard baby graph theory book, which I would love to go through. Lots of problems. And then hints in the back. Yeah. Lots of references. Of course, I don't have access to a library, but yeah, this would be my book. If I had to do a graph theory, if I did a graph theory self-course today, this would be my book. Then Harary. This is an Indian print. It does not have answers in the back, but it's got a ton of content. And let me zoom in. It's an old book. You can pause this and read it. I see partitions, colors, groups, digraphs, the four-color theorem, the bridges of Königsberg, yeah, definitely a reference. Easily a book that could also be someone's first graph theory book. Oh, in my case, as you all know, I love it when the book has answers in the back. That's just my baby way of seeing the world. This book's got a lot. And then I saw lots of really cool appendices as well. Yeah, lots of really great appendices. So it at least would be a great reference, if not a companion book, while I used the book with answers in the back. Yeah, definitely the appendices in this book are very, very useful. Look at all those appendices. Yeah. And then the four-color theorem as an addition at the end. All right, so last, but definitely not least, this is one of those books where there's an earlier book, and then there's a second book that's actually a graduate textbook in mathematics that I believe encompasses this book and a bunch of other content. But this is the original first book by Bondi and Murdy, Graph Theory with Applications. Obviously an old book, and this is a pretty good copy. It's a Canadian book, or at least the authors are from Canada, 1976. And this particular print is in great shape. Trees, colorings, all types of graphs. It's got some appendices, no answers in the back. Something that is, of course, required of any graph theory book is a lot of diagrams. So it is not lacking on that. Yeah. It's got references, but of course, that's what these days, there'd be a lot of hyperlinks. So I just wanted to show it, just to say I have it. I think it's a pretty cool book, pretty interesting book. But at this stage in the game, I don't know if I would use it for anything more than a reference. All right, so I've shown enough. I hope this answers the mail to folks who have been asking about, a few folks asking about combinatorics books. But yes, this is more a call for references than anything else. Thank you.